Thanks so much for joining us on NHCS Insight. I'm your host, Russell Clark, and today I'm joined with Jarelle Lewis, Executive Director of Human Resources and Title IX Coordinator, and John Henry, Title IX Investigator. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Russell.
So Jarelle, I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about what Title IX is.
So Title IX is a federal law, and it is enforced by the Department of Education and the Office for Civil Rights. And what it is simply telling school districts that receive federal money that they cannot discriminate against their students and staff based on the sex of the student or the staff member. So what that means is that we can't discriminate against anyone in our district related to their gender or their biological sex.
And talk to us about your role in New Hanover County Schools and how you make sure that that doesn't happen.
So the federal regulation dictates that each district must hire and have a Title IX coordinator, and simply my role is to oversee all aspects of Title IX compliance. I think if you ask anyone off the street, they would think Title IX deals with athletics, particularly in 2022 because this was the 50th anniversary of the Title IX law being passed. So there's a lot of talk about the athletic component, but that's just one small piece of Title IX. Other parts of Title IX include making sure that there's not gender-based harassment, making sure that, of course, there's no sexual harassment happening in the schools. And part of my role is to make sure that we're just carrying out and directing every aspect of the district to make sure that we're not doing those things that Title IX says we're not supposed to do.
Absolutely. Now, John, tell us a little bit about what your role is here in the district as the Title IX investigator.
Yeah, Russell, so I'm the Title IX investigator, so I investigate all formal complaints of potential Title IX violations, which is usually sexual harassment. So what would happen is we'd get a complaint come in, and the biggest part about it is what I would participate in would be the interactive process brief. So we'll get with the complainant and we'll figure out ways that we can provide supportive services. So that's how it starts, but eventually I'm going to be the investigator, and my job is to get the facts, to be fair and equitable on both sides, and get enough information to allow the decision maker to make a decision on whether the sexual harassment or whether the person's responsible or not.
And can you walk us through what it's like conducting an investigation?
Yes, I can, Russ. So like I said, we get the complaint, we'll do the interactive process brief, we'll talk about supportive services, because the key is we want to get those obstacles down for a person's access to our educational opportunities. So that's what we'll do. We'll figure out supportive services that we can do, and then I start the investigation. But before I start it, there has to be a formal complaint, and the complainant would do that, make a formal complaint. And then I would take that, and then the whole Title IX process would start. The Title IX process is lengthy, Russ. There's a lot of checks and balances. There's a lot of due process in it, so it gets complicated and lengthy. So, for example, the first thing I'd have to do once the formal complaint's signed, I would do a notice of allegations. So I would send a letter to both parties, tell them what exactly the person's accused of, and so they have a heads up, or they know why I'm coming to ask them questions. Then I'll conduct the investigation. I'll start with the complainant, any witnesses that he or she gives to me, any evidence that I can get, well, I'll go and get it. And eventually I'm going to talk to all the players. And to make a long story short, I do a report, and the parties get a chance to review that report. They get a chance to review all the evidence. They get a chance to ask questions to the other witnesses, all on paper. And then once that's done, I sign off the report and I give it to the decision maker, and that person will make the decision on whether the person is responsible or not. So it's a long process. I kind of gave you a nutshell of it, but the bottom line is for me to find out the facts, and enough facts to allow the decision maker to make an informed decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both for that. Be sure to join in next week as we continue our interview with Jarelle and John about Title IX and what that looks like here in New Hanover County Schools. For more information about the district, be sure to visit nhcs.net and follow us on social media.